It has been an intense couple of days for the U.S. as we come to grips that a Chinese spy balloon has entered our sovereign airspace without being shot down. Although there's much speculation whether or not it was the Chinese, we now have irrefutable evidence that it was. Thanks to a couple of loyal viewers, they sent in their home video to us just moments before the balloon was shot down. Check it out. What is that? You see that? Holy is that the balloon? That's the balloon. Oh my God. Look, what is that on the side?
It's got like.
Did you send that to me earlier this week?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, it's been a hell of a
Kind of
week.
want some. Kind
It's
of want
been
some
a hell
ice
of a
cream.
week. I did not see
I
that. That
know.
is awesome.
That's
I like that I didn't know.
We're really dark. You should turn those other lights on.
Are we turning on lights?
We can turn that light on.
Which light?
I can't reach that.
Which light you want on?
Hi, everyone.
That one. What's happening? How
You're gonna
come
get John's armpit. Sorry. There you go. Thank you.
How come the spotlight's on the camera? Is there a reason?
Oh, I could have hit the button.
That's
Technical
okay.
difficulties today, guys.
Yeah,
It's
just a
fine.
little
It's
bit.
right.
What is happening, everybody?
Sure
How's
thing.
everybody doing?
The
Happy
reason why-
Wednesday.
The reason why I don't have my shirt
Happy
on because
hump
it's
day.
in the dryer.
Hump day.
It was laundry day.
Your shirt's in the dryer.
It was laundry day on Friday, and I haven't taken it out yet.
Hey, we're not all perfect.
But it's clean. It's just in the dryer.
It's been a busy week, hasn't it?
Oh my
It's
gosh, it's
only
been
Wednesday.
crazy.
And it's
Fudge
only
nuggets.
Wednesday.
It's been crazy.
Welcome to Super Bowl week in Arizona, y'all. It's
Yes.
Oh,
shit.
and
man.
open.
and
Yeah.
the open.
Yeah.
All right, give me a shot
Because
glass.
that
I'm gonna
was
need a
somebody's
little-
brilliant idea.
little-
Right.
Thank you, dear.
John's gonna finish off the rest of that bottle.
Oh,
Oh,
shouldn't.
I went up there to pick somebody up, and it was crazy.
Well, I can't
Oh,
even imagine.
sure.
Literally, everybody's been coming in since Tuesday, since yesterday.
Did you
We've
want
been
some?
full.
No, thank you.
quick shout out to our sponsor, Americano Ammunition Coffee. They have their new Valentine's Day
I
drinks
know. I'm so
out right
excited.
now.
I cannot wait to do
No.
the cookie dough strawberry
Ooh, that does sound good.
and the
doesn't it?
raspberry white
does.
chocolate latte. I'm not really the energy drink person, but those other two
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, they look good too.
Mm.
You can order online through AmericanoAmmunitionCoffee.com.
Outstanding.
Excited.
Very cool. It's gonna be
Erica, Christine,
should be exciting.
Mom, everybody's there.
We have
Hi.
very little memes tonight, so I
Hi,
know we have a lot to
everybody.
talk about.
We
so-
got a
Oh.
lot to talk about.
Oh God.
I went.
Do we really? We don't have a hooker.
I
No,
we
we
won't.
yes,
I
we do.
contemplated-
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Oh.
I contemplated doing Madonna because what is
what's-
it, the Grammys or whatever it was that was there,
Oh,
whatever TV show.
oh, damn
And
it! You asked me about
and
something.
she was
once
like-
yesterday.
She was like, it was the camera angle. I'm like, no, hooker, you're fat. Like
Fat.
you ate yourself.
She is old, isn't she? Isn't she like 70 or something?
Probably, but
Done.
she's fat
She's got-
now.
She's
Is
not
she?
that old, but she's getting there.
She's fat.
I
now.
thought she was in her
She's-
70s, but
probably in her mid 60s.
probably,
Yeah.
most likely. All right, let's
But
race.
so is Sharon. She looks amazing. Oh,
Well,
Sharon's older
yes,
than that.
that's a lot
But
of-
again,
I am pretty sure that Cher is actually a mummy.
Yeah,
zombie.
Yeah, I'm sure she's had a
Probably
little
by
bit
now.
of nips and tucks here and there.
Right. You get that?
No.
well,
Sharon-
Madonna should too by now.
Oh,
Shoot.
she's got a lot too,
Oh, not anymore.
but she's been,
No,
know,
I gotta
rode
find the
hard
picture.
too.
Yeah, nip tuck
If
went
I
wrong.
text you the picture, can you put it up there?
Wow. And
So
there you
fat,
have
y'all.
it.
You got to look it
All right,
up.
running through the memes real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Couple funny ones. Oh, great! Here comes the German spy balloon. That was kind of funny floating around.
That's
This one was great. I saw this one. Department of Defense.
That's awesome.
Don't forget to pay your taxes this year. Other countries are depending on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
no kidding, right?
Isn't that the truth? Meanwhile, in Chicago, we're Lightfoot dancing in the streets.
I'm sorry, but if I was her, I would 100% get a suit like that just to do
Oh,
it.
I know,
She
right?
already has
Just
one.
to
that
do
thing. Other people, I do not let my dog on the furniture. us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's our house. Sorry.
So true. So true. Me hoping the Chinese spy balloon flies over the house.
I told Pete literally, I'm like, where are the rednecks in the world?
Yes.
Because you know darn well somebody's like, I'll give you $20, you can shoot that down.
There was
Yeah.
a
60, what was it? 60,000 feet? Go right ahead. Try it.
Right.
there was an extremely
try
funny
big.
thing on YouTube that I saw earlier today that talked about if the balloon had flown over the South, and it's this one guy. Now he has 3 characters, and it's literally just like, hey y'all, what do you think about getting this? Can we shoot that damn thing? No, not all at once, but because we got to be able to figure out who shot it first. it was just, and I'm not even doing it
That
justice.
is the
It is,
best
it is
ever.
hysterical.
Yeah, not everybody at once because we got to know who got it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's hilarious. I know the cookie dough strawberry. Doesn't that sound amazing?
That's a whole nother story.
Keith told me about that. I was like, ugh. Oh, Madonna's 64. She looks like she ate herself. Like she fat.
Why is Dad keeping track of that?
Sleeve dra-
Huge
yeah.
sleeve,
I didn't
Oh.
see
yellow.
that.
I didn't see
I didn't
that.
see that.
that hooker. Ugh.
Did not see that.
Wait, go back. I missed that.
What?
Kristen Cinema did something stupid, which is
Kirsten Cinema had a
her.
huge yellow
Oh, okay.
Sleeve
dress. on?
dress.
I didn't see that. And I watched the
I didn't watch it.
couple times. Bongino today was friggin' awesome.
Oh, see,
he was
and
on
I didn't get a
rant.
chance to
Oh
read
my
it,
God.
or to watch
Keith
it because
was-
I was.
Keith was
great.
watching it, and I was like, "What is happening?" He was downstairs in the massage chair, and I'm trying to work. I'm like, "Turn that off! I can't concentrate."
He was all riled up today.
It was a busy day today, so at work. So I did not get a chance to even turn it on.
See, Andrea said she looked awful.
Wow.
I know she looked awful.
Well, what should we talk about first? Should we talk about the balloon?
Are we done with memes?
Do
Yes,
we get
we're
a
done, we're
choice?
done,
Oh,
with-
okay.
we're done with
Well, why don't we
memes.
do this? Why don't we jump into the newsletter because it's
Okay.
going to have a lot of the balloon.
Okay,
Huh.
cool. Because it's
The
Kinda-
balloon is like,
Hi, Will.
big news.
hey, well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of aggravating.
Oh, you fixed
is
it, John.
aggravating.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
he
I
did. He
know.
said he did.
Good job.
So obviously now we've gone from being gas stove experts to now we are spy balloon experts.
I mean, I don't know if that's really evolution.
And
I
Chinese
saw
spy
this.
balloon over Montana, hold. Chinese spy balloon over Missouri, hold. Chinese spy balloon completes its mission and exits the U.S. now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one,
I do find it interesting that they waited till it floated all the way over the U.S. and then
Oh.
let's shoot it down.
I have some theories on that.
Okay.
I've
I have
heard
lots
some.
of
I've
theories.
heard some theories
Okay.
on that. So this one I actually thought the Battle of the Balloon. It almost looks like it's a like a Wikipedia. February 3rd, skies of Montana, Chinese victory. The belligerents were the U.S. and China. U.S.'s strength, 5,200 plus aircraft, 1.3 million service members, world's best air defense. China's a single balloon, unmanned.
Good job.
Good job. So let's start with the fact that this thing floated over Alaska,
Mhm.
floated over the Aleutians, came back across the water, floated over Canada, which, by the way, if you didn't know, NORAD protects not only the US, but Canada.
Yeah.
And then floated over Montana, obviously, and then came all the way out to Myrtle Beach, and that's where they shot it down.
Right.
Now, they say that this thing was sending telemetry back to China because they can control it, they can maneuver it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure whatever information it's capturing went back to China
Immediately, right?
Yeah.
immediately. Absolutely.
Now, I've heard some speculation, and there's no way to really know. But the speculation is the fact that they may have jammed it because there are reports that there were planes that were following
Sure,
this thing.
they did.
As soon as
Mhm.
they identified it in Montana, they were planes that were following this thing.
Then why didn't they
all the
scoop
way
it up
out.
and take it out?
So
Uh-huh.
Stand by.
Exactly.
And I
stand
mean,
by. Can we answer
Yeah.
this?
Mhm.
You gotta have to open your mind
Mhm.
first. I can't. No.
I mean, they can't tell the public
you're
everything.
jamming me right now.
I'm jamming
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I can
They
tell. I'm getting the whole.
They can't tell the whole story because It's top secret. I
They
mean,
can't tell the
they-
whole story because first of all, there's money involved.
So now I'm gonna go. We could go conspiracy theory and you know the whole Joe Biden has paid off. Yes, I can totally get that.
Oh yeah.
But
Joe
on the
Biden has
flip
no idea what's
side,
going
I want
on.
to say that there are still some in the military that are going to do the right things. So the unofficial reports that I've heard is that they put jamming aircraft next to this thing and completely jammed it, so it wasn't going to receive any signals, wasn't going to transmit any signals.
But how can
And then they also
an airplane do that when
It has
it's
the ability to do that.
floating?
It has the
Like an
ability.
airplane's flying.
It's electronics, though. It's still electronics.
I know, but it can only be within so long, right? Like a plane can't just hover next to it
yes, it
and
can.
jam
Oh,
it.
it doesn't have to hover next to it, but the whole idea is the fact that you put like an
So, like-
F-18 Growler, which is supposed to be,
But it goes fast.
but it's a jamming style aircraft, and it doesn't jam just for the immediate area around the aircraft. It jams for miles.
And it
So
finds
it
that
could do-
frequency, right?
So
Doesn't
it could sit there and it could circle this thing in a relatively wide area.
So sure. But did we get reports of, oh, look at all these planes flying around this balloon?
Yes.
but it's 60,000
I
feet
didn't
up
hear
there. Are we going to
anything
be
of
able to
that.
see it?
What?
It's 60,000 feet up there. Can we?
Oh, we
you
can
see it from.
You can 100% see a plane
Can
that
you?
far up. You can
'Cause
see the
normal-
balloon.
Well, nor could you?
There's
yeah,
pictures
people
of
are
people
people
with the
are
balloon.
plenty of
Were they?
pictures
with the
Okay.
phone, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are plenty of pictures of the balloon. So
Okay.
the idea was the fact that and I didn't put, and I should have put some slides in here on some of the other aircraft that would have been around it and such. So from some of the unofficial stuff that I've been reading, they say that there were jamming aircraft. They say that there were ELINT aircraft, electronic listening, basically, aircraft that may have actually, for simple terms, taken over the balloon, figured out how it worked, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And then they wanted to wait until it got to the East Coast to be able to let it, because they wanted it to crash in the water so they could retrieve it. Granted, I saw an official report from a guy who was some kind of
Something
NASA
like that.
engineer or something like that, that literally said, pop a hole in it with a laser and the thing will just come floating down.
Yeah, it'll.
And I'm sitting there and going, duh, what?
Yeah.
Like
They-
it's a
they have
balloon.
laser
It's
Yeah,
not-
technology.
come on,
to
is
do
it not
that. I
that
mean,
hard to do?
Isn't the Navy using laser technology?
Yes.
Yeah.
Take
I
a
mean,
blow dart.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on now.
Yeah, just send Lindsay
a-
up next
pop,
to him.
pop a little pinhole in it.
You know, just go, hell, just on the missile, just go and unplug the explosives. There you go. Doot. All right,
Yeah.
now fire it through there.
Yeah.
So to answer Will's question, they said it was the size of 3 buses.
Yeah,
That
I
was
heard
top,
that
that
was
was
fairly
top, that was
large,
top
yeah.
to bottom. So the balloon part itself, look by some of the things that I've seen on the news reports, the balloon itself was about a bus and a half in length.
Length.
So you figure a bus is what, 60 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Give or
100
take, something
feet.
like that.
That's a hot
round.
air balloon,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
About
thought
that
they said it
size.
was a couple 100 feet across in diameter.
Maybe. So first comment reads mean. What? Kind of mean, but it's not. Oh.
no, I
Oh, the flight trackers.
I knew what you were saying.
Yeah, right?
I know. You don't know, Christine. Watch me.
Before we go any further, though, I want to go back to the obvious. Shouldn't that balloon have never made it into our country?
You would think.
Should have never even made it
Isn't
into
that what our
Alaska.
defense system is for?
So let's go back to the first one.
Were they
Pentagon-
trying to
Pentagon-
play with them?
Pentagon concedes awareness gaps in detecting Chinese spy balloons.
Well, that's not good.
Oops.
So someone dropped the
So
ball.
on
What do you
what
say?
point, though?
An ICBM.
All the way across Alaska, all the way across Canada, all the way into Montana,
We have satellites
a day and a half.
that will detect if a missile gets fired from mainland China or from Russia. It'll detect the moment it gets fired. Like within seconds of it getting fired off the ground.
Yeah.
It'll detect that.
Right.
Somebody goes, and lets it float away. Nope, we got a gap there.
Hello.
Yeah. So needless to say, that's a problem. That's a problem.
So I'm going to say that's the fall guy. Saying that there's
Talking
a gap.
about listening from high up to down, things below so clear, and if it's making it didn't go near or in it.
Well, they said that it did fly near strategic military bases.
So in Montana, it flew over several nuclear silos.
That was good. Well,
So it's
I
about
like
the
that.
size of that beer one then.
yeah.
So they're saying that, yeah, it flew over several bases, including the ones in, the strategic ones in Montana. The big thing was the fact that it was designed to, if nothing else, humiliate the United States because they
Exactly.
were using it. They were saying when it was still over Montana, they were using it to humiliate the United States within China, saying that they're, how did exactly they put it? Something like the U.S. military is just for show.
100%
Pretty
is.
much now it is. I mean,
Well, were they doing it just to test?
Oh.
What are they really going to do? Okay,
Don't worry
let's-
about it.
kill the phone.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll kill the camera with that light on.
oh,
Because the
Oh.
port,
Better?
because the port that it's on doesn't charge it fully. Like the other port does, so
all of a sudden we go.
one
boop.
of our cameras had a light
So
on
don't
that
break
didn't
it.
need to be on.
Yeah.
So
So
one
sorry.
of our high tech cameras.
I mean, what if they did this just to test the waters? Okay, let's
100%
float
test the
this out
waters.
there. Let's see what they do. And
Oh, they did nothing.
exactly. So what's the next thing they're going to do?
Well, that's a good point. So it's almost like you
Am I
read,
jumping ahead?
no, it's almost like
She-
you read the script.
Okay, sorry.
No,
She's like,
you're
"Oh,
no,
that's-
you're right on.
She's like, oh, that's
You're
what you
right
send
on
me every
point
week.
here
I didn't know I was
because-
supposed to read it. I'm so
because
sorry.
Back in 2018, China was touting the fact that they dropped 3 hypersonic missiles from a balloon.
Yep.
Well, okay, so I read about that and just recently where Trump
Thanks,
said
Aaron.
that he was not aware, and we're trying to figure out the story. If did he not know about it? Did the military know about it? And
So everybody
the
within,
information didn't funnel to him. What the deal was.
So every interview I've heard from all these different people that have been in the Trump organization, every one of them has said we knew nothing about any balloons. We were never told about any balloons. So if
But
the
balloons over the U.S. or balloons were lifted off somewhere?
balloons over the U.S.
Yeah.
Never.
So
The American people, phones were around back then. It'd have been the same thing as it was now.
and you would think that these things were
Everybody
not, it's
would've
not like
known.
it's not like
Absolutely,
the military.
Christine.
It's not like the military was the ones that alerted us to this. People were taking pictures,
right, exactly.
and saying, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And so
And if that happened on Trump's watch,
they'd
they
be trying
would
to
have made a
embarrass him
big
with it.
stink about it. They
Oh
would
my
have
God,
went
they-
crazy over the
They would
news
have
with it.
crucified him.
Right.
So they definitely could have used this as a test run, which a lot of
Here
people are
comes the next
speculating
one.
that it could have been a test run for either hypersonic missiles or more likely an EMP attack.
Mhm.
And does everybody
That's what we've been
understand what an
talking
EMP
about.
attack is?
Devastating.
Well,
Devastating.
why don't you tell us for
Well,
those that don't know?
So we can get to the EMP attack.
Okay.
You're missing a lot.
I can
I
come
know.
back to it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
an EMP. So Keith and I were talking about this
Electromagnetic.
pulse.
Good job.
So
I got 2 out of the 3.
we were talking about this just on Monday about the fact that, so an EMP pulse, and we had talked about this, I don't know, a year ago or so about a corona effect.
Mhm.
So a sun
Burst.
burst that would fry electronics on half, whatever side is facing the
Yeah.
sun at that particular time. They said the EMP is basically the same thing.
Mhm.
So the one thing that I found very interesting, I had found out unofficially that that my old squadrons from the Navy had actually launched a good portion of their planes.
Really?
Mm.
So the short version, is the fact that these are World War III assets that are designed to alert submarines or launch missiles in the event of a nuclear attack. So they were concerned that this could have been an EMP type device.
Yeah.
And so they launched several of the airplanes.
Mhm.
So I heard the E4, which is the basically like the doomsday plane that's supposed to be, you know, have generals and admirals on board and be able to take control if Washington or the Pentagon is wiped out, was flying all these different kinds of things. I mean, they were actually, from what I understand, freaked out.
Mhm.
So, and the big thing was because of the CMP, because it would really, you know, as you can see from this blast radius here, I mean, you light one off, that's
Right at the Canadian
that's,
border.
That's North Dakota right
Yeah.
there that they put it over, and
Mhm.
it takes over everything short of Florida and, you know, San Antonio.
Right.
I mean, they could scoot it, you know, to the side a little more and take out California.
I was gonna say California's spared in that.
So, you know, but it just, and then the big thing is that it would also take out, this is probably the most devastating, is it would take out the electrical grid.
Right.
Every
Period.
single thing.
Yes. And so they say that it would take, most estimates is that it would take roughly around 6 months to get any semblance of normal back. And it wouldn't be perfect.
But I see, and me and Keith have been fighting with that. I don't agree with that. I think it would take years.
Oh,
For
yeah.
the
They
pure
say,
fact, look at New Orleans. They had a flood. Okay. And how long did it take them? It took them 2 years to get power to them. So why do they think that any of this is going to be different?
and Will, you're absolutely right. So
preppers
this
know
is something
better.
that's talked about a lot in the prepper communities about the
Mhm.
fact that the vast majority, most FEMA estimates are that if you kill the electrical grid in this country, 80%, give or take, of the population would die within the first 90 to 180 days.
I'm good with
And,
that.
and people don't realize this fact either, too. It's not just the electrical grid that would go out. Your vehicles would stop
Yeah.
running.
Everything,
Think about all
yeah.
the people who bought those nice new electric cars.
Yeah. They
The
ain't
electric
going
cars would-
anywhere.
They're
The electric
done.
cars would definitely stop working.
Everything new. Anything
Anything computerized
What is it,
would
80?
probably fail.
The old
7?
cars, all the
87
old
or
timers
newer
with the old ones,
are
they're
gonna
going
be
to be
good.
like, hey, we can work.
we got the whole
cruising.
road.
Yeah.
Well, there's differing, I will say, there's differing speculation on that because nobody's ever done a whole
Like EMP test.
EMP test on a car because it's expensive to do.
Well, and
So
you're
I
going to
mean,
waste
like,
a
when
lot of
I-
cars.
You know, I mean, as an example, like, and Keith and I were talking about this earlier in the week. So my old aircraft that I used to fly on in the Navy, they used to EMP test them on a, you know, every so
Yeah.
many years they would retest them.
Yeah.
And just to verify they were ready to go. But on the same token, cars don't. So they don't know if a modern car would act as a Faraday cage or not. The speculation is that the vast majority of all batteries, any car,
Done.
are going to fry. You're probably going to lose your battery no matter what. So unless you got a battery sitting in a Faraday cage,
You're doomed.
if the car is not going to protect it, it's done.
Yeah.
So they don't know.
Well, wouldn't it fry? I mean, wouldn't it fry the computer too? Wouldn't that pulse fry?
Well, yes,
Anything
it's supposed to,
electronic?
but they say also that, you know, they don't know if the car itself would act as a good enough Faraday cage to protect
Gotcha. I
it.
see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, and they think about modern electronics. You know, remember in the old cars, the good old days, you know, where you
My
used
one
to sit there.
downstairs.
Well, as you used to, you know, step on the gas and you'd hear the radio go,
Yeah.
you know, and so they're all shielded much better now than they used to be
Than they
back
used
in
to
the
be,
day.
yeah.
So we
So-
don't know.
Right.
So let's back up for those that don't know, including myself. What's a Faraday cage?
It's a EMP proof cage. So the easy way to look at it is look at it from the opposite direction of what a microwave is. So all this radiation cooks your food in a microwave.
Okay.
A microwave technically is a reversed Faraday cage. So it keeps all
So
that
you put your
radiation-
battery in a microwave?
Well, but you can actually. That
And
is
then
a,
keep
There
it
you
safe.
that
go.
is
Okay, I'm gonna buy a random microwave and shove battery in it.
that is a random. That is a poor man's Faraday cage.
Man,
There
that'd
You're
be,
you have
laughing,
it.
but that's true.
Oh,
You
that's a
can
great
literally
idea.
take anything you
I'm
wanted.
100% gonna buy
I
one.
could
on,
see
like,
Lindsay with her Honda now with a fucking microwave in there with the battery leads coming out of it with the
No, I'm
battery.
gonna have a battery. I'm gonna have like 3 microwaves in the backyard and just batteries in them.
But you could literally take an old microwave and you could theoretically put anything you wanted in there and it will protect it. Because
Really?
It makes
if,
sense.
if
It's,
it can keep the radiation in, it can
it's gonna
the
keep it
radiation out.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
I think I'm looking for
Hmm.
batteries on Facebook Marketplace later.
And microwaves.
Mhm.
There's been an uptick in sales of microwaves lately.
From
or
Santan
buying old
Valley.
junk
What is
ones.
happening? What's what I'm saying? Go buy some ones. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, take it. It's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't care.
I'll cut the cord. I don't even need it.
So, just thought some other things that, China is just obviously an issue, right? I saw another article that happened earlier this week. Nobody saw it, I don't think. Did you see
Nice.
that the Mexican cartels collected $100,000 to smuggle 3 Chinese nationals into Texas?
Didn't see
That
that.
makes you
What's-
think.
Why?
Why
Yeah.
Why
did somebody
three?
pay
You just have to walk
$100,000?
across
Yeah.
the
So,
border.
the average person getting smuggled in from Nicaragua, wherever,
Yeah.
right, is about $5,000. They're
Yep.
saying. Why did all of a sudden these 3 people
Have to be here.
be $33,000 if you divide it up evenly to get smuggled into the U.S.? Why did they need to be here?
Yeah, there's something
There's
Ooh.
something going on.
interesting. Okay.
Arthur says 100K for 3. They sometimes used to get 60 per person.
Really?
If Chinese, I think he was meant to say.
Wow. That's crazy. And so
interesting.
why is it that they're doing this? Because we know that we've seen that MS-13 have been intercepted at the border, and they
Yeah.
say this is only a small portion of the people that
Yeah.
they're intercepting. So, that whole aspect of it, just some of the things that I was writing down during this week with China. So obviously we got the spy balloon humiliating the U.S. Did it happen 3 times under Trump? If it did, then somebody, regardless of the fact whether they let the president or not let the president know, and the
Nobody
cabinet,
else knew.
but the fact that the military is letting this happen is a problem.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
know,
this
and
is
the-
the
you
4th
know-
time this happened, guys. I got a problem.
But there is a rooter. I can't say it. Reuters.
Rudimentary.
Rude awakening.
No,
Reuters.
Reuters. There you go. I knew I
Reuters.
wasn't saying it right.
Oh, okay.
Reuters
Oh, I was like, where do you-
article about reverse engineering the balloon's comms. So they said that that's what they were doing, and they didn't bring it down because of the fact that they were reverse engineering the comms and learning as much as they could about the balloon before.
So
They
why didn't we
destroyed it.
just pop a hole in it and then you
Right?
had it
I
to do
still say
whatever
that.
you wanted
Here's an
to
interesting
do?
fact I actually found out about earlier this week. So fentanyl deaths. Did you know that more Americans died in 2022 than all of the killed in action in all of the United States wars in its history?
From fentanyl?
Is that more than the Rona? Because I don't know if I believe that.
That's huge.
Obviously, they're spying with TikTok. There's
Oh. Am I supposed to be surprised?
right?
That's right.
They say now, so if anybody that doesn't know, they say if TikTok has ever been on your phone, period,
I'm good.
everything is compromised.
Mhm.
They said the only way to get rid of it is to get a new phone.
Yep.
If TikTok has been on your phone, everything on your phone has been compromised and sent back to the Chinese.
You're talking about the app.
The app itself, if the
Okay.
app has been on your phone,
Okay.
you have been compromised, and there's nothing that is safe on your phone.
Wow.
So I'm
That's
good.
That's what some of the NSA
Yeah, I'm good.
experts are now saying, that, yeah, you should technically go get a new phone.
Interesting.
So it,
So
So,
it
when
it-
there was a very
hey, how you doing there, TikTok?
So when there was a very president
Yeah.
in the White House who said that TikTok's owned by China and they're spying on us. Can I just say I told you so?
Right?
Take a moment.
so my question is, shit, and it just went right off.
Well, keep thinking about
I
that.
know.
We'll come back
Well,
to
there
it.
you go.
So we're a little all over the board. So we can come at it from
Okay.
all sorts of different angles.
All
There's
right.
no progression in this whatsoever. So, you
So it's
know,
like our
just
most of
pointing
our
out all
shows.
these things in the last line. I thought, because this is something that somebody said I saw on Monday. With friends like this, who needs enemies?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We talked
Oh,
about
Erica loves her
EMP.
tiki talking. I know.
Who remembers the Hainan Island incident?
What is
So
that?
they're
Hainan
upset.
Island?
So these officials in China are upset and saying that something's going to happen. There's going to be some kind of retaliation for shooting down their balloon. So
Bring it on.
There was
Bring
gonna
it
be
on, right?
retaliation before they even set that baby off.
Right.
So back in 2001, so this is a Navy EP-3 aircraft. It's kind of missing its front radome there. It's got an engine that's
So he's not looking the best right now.
not
but
looking
I
the
gotcha.
best.
Mm.
So back in 2001, It was intercepted 70 miles off of an island and over 100 miles away from the nearest military installation, and that they sent up 2 aircraft to go intercept it. Now, this is a slow 4-engine prop airplane, and they sent 2 fighter aircraft to go intercept it, and one collided with the airplane.
Mm.
Oh, this is the one you were talking about.
So,
So what airspace were they in? Were they in international?
yes.
Okay. Just to be clear for
So
everyone.
they're in international airspace over the South China Sea.
So you're over the ocean.
So middle of the ocean. Since they were going down, and there's a book, I haven't read the book. I wanted to, it's in my list to read, but I haven't read it yet. They thought they were going to have to ditch the airplane.
Mhm.
And then they turned around and they said, okay, we can make it to this island and we can, just land.
Yeah.
And
Not crash.
not crash and threaten the crew. So they did that. They tried at least 15 times to notify the island they were declaring an
Coming,
emergency and they needed help.
Okay.
The island never responded. Didn't no yes, no, no, nothing.
No, just silence.
Just silence. And so they landed. And so in the meantime, while they decided they were going to land, everybody in the back, now they had no procedures for this because the plane was not designed to land in enemy territory. So they
Right.
were literally taking a fire axe and they were taking hot coffee and pouring it over all the electronics and breaking up all the hard drives with the axe.
Yeah,
and
Oh,
they
doing
wow.
were
everything-
not ready for
doing
any of
everything.
this.
Yeah, the official reports said that it looks like it was a frat party that went on.
Oh,
So, I mean, that they were literally doing everything they could think of
To
at
protect,
the time to
yeah.
try and shred everything. And they said they couldn't do it. 24 crew members on this airplane. So they said that, I mean, literally when they landed and they rolled to a stop, the Chinese came up to the airplane and were banging on the door, let us in, as they're still in there trying to shred documents
Yeah.
and destroy stuff. Then they captured the 24-person crew. So 21 men, 3 women, not that it makes a difference. And they detained them for 10 days before they were allowed to be let go. But they didn't release the airplane for months, like 2 months.
Yeah.
And by the
Yeah, 'cause
time
they want to get all the stuff.
they want to get all the
Mhm.
stuff. And by the time they released the airplane, they would not let the airplane be fixed and flown off the island. The airplane had to be disassembled, and they had to be disassembled by the Chinese.
Mm.
So the
of
Chinese
course.
disassembled it
Interesting.
and then insisted the United States paid for their labor to disassemble this
Are
Are
airplane.
you serious?
Yes.
I'd have been like, now you can have it.
We paid big money
Of course we
to
did.
have them disassemble the airplane for it to be thrown into a Russian airplane.
Or,
Oh,
okay.
3 Russian airplanes to be flown off the island.
Oh, that's crazy.
Jesus.
That is crazy.
And we paid them for that, including, I mean, these were national secrets. The fact the United States could track, this is what they found out. The fact that the U.S.
Why
could
didn't we
track
just say, you know what? You
Chinese
can have it.
submarines.
Yeah,
You
you can
could.
keep it.
You already took it
No,
apart.
no,
What's
no,
the
no,
matter?
no, no, no. This is,
They've already taken it apart. They got whatever they wanted.
they did not
off
want
of
to
it.
leave them to continue to have. I mean, so they went in there and they figured out what they could, as much as they could for 2 months, but they didn't want to give them years to sit there and dissect it.
Because our technology
You don't
is so
think-
much better than theirs.
You don't think they took pictures
These
and
particular aircraft are special.
okay.
Mm.
So, I mean, these particular aircraft are very, very special. So, and then who knows about the Spratly Islands?
Nope.
So, the Spratly Islands,
And FON.
Yeah, what's FON stand for?
freedom of navigation.
Okay.
So, my point that I'm trying to make here is the fact that the Chinese talk about what they do. So, they have these little reefs that are out in the middle, actually close to the Philippine Islands, and the Philippines claim it as their territory.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chinese went in and against international law, and it's been brought up multiple times in international court, and they just dismiss it, that they have taken and they made these coral reefs into an actual, look at that. Is that what it was?
Probably.
So they had taken these coral reefs and they have made them into islands.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the United States.
Guess not.
So they made these into islands. They're just sandbars,
Yeah.
but they made these into
Okay.
islands against international law. And so the United States Navy keeps, just going by these things as a Freedom of Navigation Act.
Yeah.
And so I've seen YouTube videos. So the modern version of that P3 is called the P8 Poseidon. So it's a Boeing 737
Okay.
militarized. And so I've seen actual video of them threatening to shoot the airplanes down when they fly in international waters by these islands. So, I mean, we shot down a balloon,
Right.
and they sit there and they want to shoot down an airplane that has 20 souls on board or whatever. And
For going over nothing.
for going over nothing. So, I mean, this kind of describes what a freedom of navigation aspect of it is. Ships, as long as they're not, so the big point is the fact that they cannot do any active surveillance. They can't do anything with their weapon systems. They literally can just transit across. But as long as they transit across and don't do anything provocative, they're totally free to do
fine,
that.
yeah.
And according to international law, that's cool.
Yeah, you have to be able to drive by stuff. Come on now.
Right.
Same thing with airplanes, freedom of overflight. As long as you're not doing anything provocative, if you're, in an uncontested area. Now, granted, there is within areas. So like this shows here, 200 miles is your,
Erica, do we get to charge them to send the balloon back?
we are not
But you
sending
know
that.
what?
We
They're
better
gonna
not.
disassemble
We better
it.
not. Yeah.
Keep
Awesome
it for 2
idea.
I hope
minutes
we.
and then
I hope
send
we
it.
only send back the balloon.
The balloon part. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
There
so
you
sorry. I don't
go.
know what happened with the rest of it. It's in Hunter's.
Well, I
No,
hope they
I-
actually just go down to Dollar General and just grab a balloon and say, "Here you go.
Here you
this
go."
is all that's left."
I think that's an
Sorry.
awesome idea. Whatever they charged us, we charge them to
put it back together. for 'em.
exactly. We'll disassemble it for you and ship it.
And maybe it'll get.
It'll cost
you know.
exactly the same amount.
I like that.
I think that's
I
fair.
Like that, Erica.
Fair is fair.
So, just as a point of reference, so that little red dot out there, that's the Spratly Islands. So this, I don't know if you can see my arrow.
Yeah,
This-
okay, the big
this-
green top.
This
part.
up here, this is China, way up here.
Okay.
Right.
This down here, this is the Philippines.
Right.
Dude, you're not
This-
even near there. You
Not
don't get
even
to-
close. Not even close.
It's
And
not like
so-
it's that little baby island off the butt of it. I mean,
And
that
this,
makes sense.
This little island here,
That
can
you
you see
can
this?
have, that's yours.
You see that?
Yeah.
That's where Andrew and Arthur are going.
They're not going.
That's just for the record.
They don't want to go anymore.
So I actually found this article. This was from the Epic Times. Kind of an interesting, it's part of a whole big article, but the Secret War Against America. And it comes from a book. Don't know if, and I should have highlighted it, but basically this 1999 book that was published by the Chinese military about unrestricted warfare. And it talked about how to defeat a technological superior enemy.
Mhm.
And there's only a few countries that are only technologically superior to the Chinese.
So dumb question, why would China put that out there for public consumption, especially for the US, if this is their secret war?
Because they don't, because
We're not that smart.
Have we done anything about it?
Well, that's
But
just like
what,
that.
but what I'm saying is, did they put that out there just to, okay, we're going to make them think this, but we're going to do this?
Oh, you mean Art of War?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Good
No,
job.
Am I
that's
jumping?
exactly what that's-
Am I jumping ahead?
You
of
No.
read the script twice, Wendy. I am so proud of you. Good job.
I'm just saying, it's like, why would anyone put secrets out there and put it pen to paper and publish it and say this is what?
Because they either want us to follow it or they don't
Because they don't feel that we are smart enough
to figure it out.
to figure it out.
I don't know.
And I hate to say it, with
I'm
the
gonna-
balloon going all the way over the
All right,
U.S., I
so
don't
here
think
I
we
have-
are.
Here I have a book. This was written by
It's a big book.
Robert Gates. He was the Secretary of Defense for both Bush Jr. and Obama.
Okay.
So it's got a passage in here that is, talking
Ooh,
about.
I see some yellow highlighting.
Now you know why I borrowed the highlighter.
Yes, I
today.
do.
She's like, why?
Yeah.
Talking about Vice President Biden at the time.
Okay.
Mm. Before or after he put the documents in his house?
This
Sorry.
would have been technically after,
Somewhere
because
around
some of the
after.
documents he put in there when he was a senator.
Oh, okay. So
So,
after.
He in talking about Vice President Biden, Robert Gates, whom a lot of people have a huge amount of respect for, say
So let's back up. Who is he?
so
For
he,
those that don't know,
he was the
including
Secretary
myself.
of Defense during Bush Jr. and
Oh, that's right.
Obama.
I'm sorry. Apparently, I wasn't listening. I apologize.
But you were listening, but you just thought you ask again. So to
She wanted to
reinforce it.
clarify. That was
Yes.
it.
So he says, I think he, meaning Joe Biden, has been wrong on nearly every major foreign policy and national security issue for over the past 4 decades.
Wow, 40 years. That's a long time.
So what are we up to now? 7 decades?
Basically, he says, he says Joe Biden's a nice guy. He's got he disarms you very much with his charm. He seems like a real nice guy. Seems like he could be your best friend. But on the other hand, the guy is always wrong.
Yeah.
Always wrong.
So when was that
Yep.
book published?
2014.
2014. Okay.
So he's sucked since then already then.
You ever see the movie?
Well,
The-
40 years before that, even.
Yeah.
you ever watch the
we knew
movie The
that.
Hunt for Red October?
Yes.
When he brings up that line where he says he's a politician, he's kissing babies and stealing their lollipops at the same time, and
Yep.
that's who Joe Biden is. Try to be your best friend, but then
Take all your
be a
stuff.
piece
Yep.
of, you know what,
Absolutely.
on the
Cakes or
backside.
ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Ice cream.
So in this document, it talks about it very well about the fact that the secret war that they don't think we care about, because this
Right.
was written by 2 Chinese generals. And the
So again, why would 2 generals put this out there for public consumption?
We're
because
not that smart.
have we done anything about this? So demoralized, and it talks about all
But
these
I mean,
different.
if we did, are we going to? Is that considered classified? Are we going to put that out there for the U.S.'s public consumption?
Well, and so to be fair, and you're absolutely right about that, Dan. So the idea is the fact that the China that existed during World War II is technically the China that exists on Taiwan today.
Mm-hmm.
It was a democratic China that is now what is Taiwan. So the Taiwan government lost.
Do mine
Erica,
after.
you're so right.
That's funny.
So the China that exists today
The-
is the who won that war in the 40s, late 40s, and ended up putting the Taiwan government in exile on the island, and they have been in charge of the Chinese government and Chinese
The
people.
Taiwanese.
No, they've been in charge of mainland China.
Oh,
since
okay,
then.
okay.
Okay.
So I think it's since 47, I think 47 or 48. I keep forgetting. But this is what they have. And so then they put in place, they said that they wanted to be the world's leading power, the world's leading economy, and they wanted to basically be at the top of the pyramid, if you want to call it,
Yep.
for world
Top of the
powers.
food chain.
And so they specifically back in the 40s called that they need to defeat the United States. So, they're going to demoralize. One of the things that pointed out really good about demoralization was they talked about specifically about infiltrating hate and discontent amongst the media.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm sure there's a 12-step program per se. And
Well, it's only a 4-step.
okay.
But you're right. There's many small factors to it.
Mhm.
But it literally talks about breeding hate and discontent amongst the media and distrust of the
Oh,
media.
we're there.
And we're right there.
We're
Yep.
right there.
Second, it talks about destabilization.
We're
And it
right there
talks,
too.
Yep.
and then
Check.
that's in like all directions. Then it talks about conflict. And they
Step.
don't talk
Check.
about direct conflict. They're not talking about a military versus military.
Oh,
But
conflict amongst
let's talk about-
ourselves.
Well, let's talk about riots.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
conflict
Let's talk
amongst
about,
ourselves.
all of a sudden, I mean, how many stories have we heard about, that all of a sudden piles of bricks and things started showing up when the riots were happening a year and a half ago.
Surprise.
So those types of things.
Silent
And
contributors.
then intervention. In intervention, it specifically talks about guerrilla warfare, and it talks about EMP attacks, and it talks about things where they cause an issue catastrophe.
And then they're the saviors. They
And
know
then
how
they're
to
the
fix
saviors.
it. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
So,
Just like they're
Interesting.
going to take our plane apart and send it back to us.
right.
Yeah, I got you. I
So-
got you, boo.
Enough about China. Oh, other than the spy balloon. And you saw it was over
Whatever
at
happened to the one that was in Mexico?
It's in Latin America.
Latin America.
Is it
So
still
it went
out
over. It went over Colombia.
Is it still there?
Yeah, they just let it go.
Nobody shot it down.
Well, let's put it
What
this way:
the?
if somebody did, nobody knows.
Nobody knows, right?
Oh, it's top secret.
We don't.
Okay.
know.
Oh
Okay.
my God, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
What are you gonna do?
What the actual fuck is happening?
I love the fact that if anybody's got closed captioning on right now, it says beep.
Babe,
Right?
it's just like
So going back to Will's comment, so what video was that? Was that kind of like a documentary? Just somebody coming up with that video? Give us more information, Will.
Is China playing chess right now?
uh-huh.
And the reason I say that is
They're trying to
because
see who's going to do anything.
not only that, they're strategically moving throughout the
Pieces
globe.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they're on a, and we've talked about this in the past. They're on 100-year.
Plan.
quest.
They're not doing things short. They're
Yeah,
doing
this
things
plan
long.
is not. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
not a quick and we're going to just do this
It's
and
all
be
long
done.
In and
We're
out.
not.
Right.
No, they're on 100-year plan to specifically upset the United States so they can take over as being the world
The
power and the world economic engine and all these different things. So, and we stupidly keep thinking that we
We're smarter than them.
not even that,
Or that we're winning
So
in
some of
some-
the reading that I've talked that I've gone into and research is the fact that we stupidly think that we're going to.
Is that a
convince-
football
What
people?
are you two laughing?
Is
at?
that a football people?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, good job.
Kansas City's in the Super Bowl.
Oh, totally planned.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Totally did it on purpose.
Yeah, send it to me. Well, I'll share it out with the group.
So they are. I forgot where I was going because you two were laughing. At something.
Andrew
Holy
started it.
Usually
Uh,
that's just my problem. I'm glad you tag you're in it.
Hold on.
Right? We need Will here. We need all the sound effects. It's so fun without
Right?
the sound
Pushing
effects.
buttons in the beep.
Oh my god!
Oh my God. Since we've already derailed, there was the cutest, like this little baby goat. The mom died sad. Oh, I know. But somebody was like, they're like, oh, I'll let you, like, you can have this goat. I work 12 hours a day, 3 days a week. So I'm assuming it's a nurse. Like, I can't take care of him. I can't feed him every 4 hours. And I was like, should I tell Keith that we can go get a free goat? Because I know he would
think-
say yes.
I think Keith would love a goat.
If we had more property, yes, I would absolutely love.
Are
to
the
go.
dogs going to get along with the goat though?
Probably because we talked about getting
Probably.
chickens and we were like, so which dog's gonna eat one first? And I was like, oh, mine for sure.
You think,
Think
so?
so?
Oh,
No.
I would have
Will's
put.
gonna
I
eat
would
a
have put
goat.
money on Shiva.
Mm.
No,
Shiva's
Shiva
gonna
will
chase
lick
it.
it to death.
She'll chase it, but
She'll
Bill's just
lick it
gonna
to
straight
death.
be like and bite
Goats
it and
in the
it'll squeak
studio.
and she'll
Just
be
so
like,
you
oh, it's
know.
a squeaker.
Just so you know, chickens do not like to be chased. That will kill them.
Yeah,
Man, we just off-roaded. I like
we
it.
really did.
I
We
like it.
really
We
did.
needed that. We needed to lighten up the mood. It's been very somber tonight.
Yeah, I lost it.
Yeah.
It's
So
been
you-
a crazy week. I mean, just
So you watched the State of the Union, huh?
I did, and then I listened to Dan Bongino, which was much more entertaining than the State of the Union was.
We were out last night, and so I only got to see Sarah Huckabee Sanders' response, which I thought was okay. I mean,
Just
she hits,
okay, really?
Yeah, it was clearly pre-written,
Mhm.
and I want to say that I think they spent
How can it be pre-written? I mean,
because they had a good idea what he was going to talk about. So I'm sure that
Because
Yeah,
his was
they-
written.
they did some tweaking within the first, because there was a 15-20 minute lull in between. They added some lines and deleted some lines, I'm sure, but for the most part. And so they did a lot of just really, I mean, she went too much into stories about this and that. And it's like, no, that's not what you need to be up there. You're not supposed to be. I mean, and I like her. I like her a lot. I think she's a really good politician. I think she's really good as far as she's good for Arkansas to being their governor. but she went into stories about when her dad was governor and when Bill Clinton was governor and blah blah blah. And it's like,
Wow.
sorry,
Doesn't pertain.
You're
Nobody
speaking.
cares.
You're speaking to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Let's not make this an Arkansas thing.
Yeah, doesn't pertain.
And so, but she did make some good points about what the GOP wants to do as far as we're not trying to break the country. We're, all these types of things, which I thought were very good points. So, there was a pluses and minuses to both. So, I saw one show with some talking heads on there, and they were giving her an A through F effort. And I want to say she was kind of a B- in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So definitely room for improvement, but I think they hit all the high talking points. But what was your thoughts about I seen highlights of the.
I didn't watch it last night. I rewatched it today.
Okay.
And I kind of did the same thing. I kind of sped up to different topics. I didn't sit
So
there
you
and
saw where he
watch the whole thing.
outright lied
several times.
several times.
Several
About
All sorts of
Well,
crap.
Medicare was one of them.
So he said that there are Republicans that want to sunset. This is the way he put it, right?
Sunset. Yeah.
Sunset Medicare and Social Security,
Mhm.
and the entire
Everybody laughed.
the entire GOP called him a
Too,
liar.
Yeah, they started, especially
Marjorie Taylor Greene was sitting there yelling that he was a liar.
Yep. Yeah.
They showed her, the cameras went right to her. McCarthy was sitting behind him. He sat there and shook his head vigorously, saying, "That is not true. That is not true." I saw what the proposal is. So he's sitting there and he's saying, "Contact my office. I'll
give you a
show
copy. I'll send you a copy.
Well, I was 100%. I heard
Hey.
that part, and I was like, I'll fucking email him right now.
I mean-
Shit.
Do you want to know what it was?
I find it incredibly stupid on anybody's part to say something like that when it can be totally disputed.
They're spinning it.
Distraction.
Into what? For why? Why?
And you know what was suggested? So one of the things of the Republicans. So, what was the line? Does anybody remember the line? And Dan will type it in, I'm sure, or Will might. What was the line that Reagan said about living in perpetuity? Nothing lives, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but nothing lives in perpetuity except for a government program. And so the whole idea was that they said that everything needs to be, the GOP wants to write a bill that basically says every government program has to be revisited every 5 years.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Companies get audited. Why can't we do that with the government?
Well, and there's a good point. And that's exactly
revisit
right.
things
Yeah.
to see how it's going.
Because it worked 20 years ago doesn't mean it works still.
But see,
Or if it needs improvement, if
Exactly.
it needs, tweaking or whatever,
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
especially since on the current rate, Social Security is going to be bankrupt in
Absolutely,
15
especially
years.
when our
15?
our
Probably
leadership
not that
keeps
much.
no, by
rating
the end
it.
of the decade.
really. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, we'll
So-
never see
so
it.
I have no chance.
Yes.
Ah,
By the end of the
fuck that,
decade, it's going to go bankrupt, insolvent. So but the point is,
So I
I
need
mean,
to
we
get Dad
talked
on
this,
there,
we
like-
talked about this either last week or the week before
Now.
about the fact that there was a
A what?
A banana in the room,
I don't know what that means.
or an ice cream cone in the room.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, huh?
incomplete for last night's speech because he was an incomplete president. Well, see, you're just biased.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna-
say incompetent.
I'm going to say that, Dan. You might be a little bit biased.
Right.
Little girl has cancer and talked about responsible pardoning her like she was a Thanksgiving chicken. Bro, and that is
What?
that there were some
What?
things that
What?
there were some things that were really weird,
Yeah.
and then he sat there and he started
That's
yelling
Alzheimer's for you.
he started yelling about,
He was screaming.
yeah, and that was really weird too. I had no idea where he feels that is projecting some kind of power every
That's
time he does
Alzheimer's
that.
for you. He has no clue what's going on.
But
Apparently, I need to go back and watch this then.
yeah, at least the
Okay.
highlights.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure-
could
Okay.
skim through it.
Yeah.
That's what I
I
did.
kind of want to
Okay.
put it on like in the background and listen to it, but I know it's not something I'll be able to not.
I
yell
know I
at.
need
No,
to,
because
I
you
just
really
don't
gotta. I
want
mean, from
to.
just watching the highlights that I saw, you need to be able to watch when they pan to certain people in Congress,
Yeah.
one or the other, and see what some of their reactions are. So
Yeah.
you really can't just kind of watch it in the background. You got to really watch for the
attention.
reactions, because there's so many things that he said that were just totally inaccurate. You know, remember we talked a couple weeks ago, either last week or the week before, about the proposal for a national sales tax
Right.
and getting rid of the IRS.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then the president goes on and starts talking about the GOP wants to raise your taxes to 30%. Totally doesn't even mention about the fact that they want to get rid of the IRS and you wouldn't have to pay
Any
income
Right,
taxes.
exactly.
You wouldn't have to pay income tax. All he touts is the fact that the GOP wants to raise your taxes to
Yep.
30%.
Yeah,
That's
leave
the
out
only
the
part
good
they
part.
say. So again, it's the outright lying.
But
that
you
they're
know
doing.
what? Both parties are
They have,
guilty of the
historically,
manipulation.
I don't disagree with that. There's always been that certain amount, but I think that the level of just total lying and expecting nobody to even look it up now has gotten ridiculous.
And unfortunately, people just believe what they're being fed instead of doing some research, doing some follow up, really watching what's going on. I think that's just indicative of where we are right now.
Well, if you watch it, if you go back and watch it, I've never seen the State of the Union where there was so much, I don't want to say bickering back and forth, but there was a
Mhm.
lot of communication back and forth between the two parties. And anybody who doesn't know any better, I'll say liberals in general, they're going to watch last night and go, all these Republicans, it's a bunch of crybabies, or just, you know,
They're just fighting
they're
That's
just
what
sore
that's what-
losers, and this is the truth. You know, he's speaking the truth. That's their mindset. And
But
to your
that's all
point,
that-
nobody's going to go and research it.
Well, that's all
but
media's
that's
going to
both
show.
sides. I mean, there's a lot of bias on both sides,
Yeah.
Mhm.
unfortunately, instead of kind of getting through the
Muck.
sides. It's like the whole point of having sides is we meet somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of meeting in the middle.
Yeah,
It's-
compromise does not happen in Washington.
it's my way or their way. And the compromise just has gone out the window, and and that's unfortunate because I think that's the whole point of the parties,
Yeah.
so that you can see the different sides and you try to get somewhere in the middle
Yeah.
and meet
Well,
somewhere in the middle.
The sad part about the whole thing is with the lies is you have people, especially the people that are a bit naive, you have them believing that the economy is great. He brought back 200 million jobs. Unemployment's at 3 point whatever, the lowest in 40
Inflation's gone
years.
down.
Inflation's gone down.
The debt has gone down.
You have people believing this, and then
And
when
that is
and they
wrong.
don't prepare for nothing, and then when the system comes crashing down, all those people are fucked.
Right.
And I agree that
sorry, it's partly their fault, but at the same time, they shouldn't be lied to.
Yeah.
right. And I totally agree with that. It's like you don't have to always, it's not always roses.
Right.
You got to show what the deficits are, let people know, and
Well-
what we're going to work on.
But there used to be a day, and I think this might be the big issue that we have. And you and I had a big, long discussion with somebody not too long ago.
We did. Okay.
But the fact that there used to be a time where the media used to call out,
Right.
Okay.
and the media doesn't anymore.
Right.
The media runs cover. So instead of calling out when the president is outright lying, or calling out when the president says,
And holding people accountable.
and saying that the GOP wants to raise your taxes at 30%, the media should be sitting there saying
But
they were going to abolish the IRS and you were going to just pay
Just
a
pay
certain
that.
sales tax
Right.
at 30%.
Those particular media
are
I think
bought out now.
Well, they've said I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
I see the bias and I tap out, and we've seen a few of them in the national limelight that have said, you know what, I'm
They
done
got
with
out.
this.
Yeah.
Well, and especially because those stories are getting snuffed now.
Exactly.
You're not
And
allowed to tell those things. You're not allowed to say those things.
absolutely, and that's
Because
where,
they've all been bought out.
So
right,
Dave,
and they chose to walk away because
They
that's
didn't wanna-
not what they signed up for.
Yeah.
And I give them so much credit for saying,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know
like,
what,
I'm good. Bye.
yeah, I give them credit. And unfortunately, because they're not there to fight the fight,
Nobody else is going to.
nobody else is going to. It's just okay, we just
We're good.
kowtow to we're being told this is what it's got to be, and that's what
Well-
we're gonna publish.
we'll see what happens, because did you see that ex-Twitter execs were on Capitol Hill today?
I did
I
not.
heard about
God,
that. Yeah, I heard about
seriously?
that.
Oh yeah.
What are they sniveling
They're
about?
on trial, right?
No, they are being called by.
Oh,
They're
like,
being called to the carpet.
Yep.
So the best I saw, so
Nice.
new Congresswoman Anna Luna
Who?
out of Florida.
Okay. Oh, is that the one that people were really upset about? That one?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
Sorry.
I
Wrong
think
one.
you're thinking about
no, there's plenty of
Marjorie Green.
No, not Marjorie Green. There was a Hispanic woman that. had
Oh, that's the
one-
one out of Texas. And I
Texas.
forget her name.
Okay. Okay. My bad.
No, this
Wrong
one, this one is so Anna Luna, great Republican, ex Air Force, out of Florida. I've been following her. She had some great things. She literally, I mean, granted, I will say, and I'm drawing a blank. What's the one out of Colorado? The female Republican.
Oh.
Damn it, I'm drawing a blank.
I know. I can't.
Somebody
think
help
of
me
her
out
name.
here.
I can picture her.
But Anna Luna got up there and she specifically asked the four of them, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you go on a cloud server and talk directly to people from the FBI? Guess what? I know what your answer is already. It's been released on the Twitter files. You have all committed a felony, multiple felonies.
Wait, what?
And
Well, they censored information before the election, didn't
they
they?
censored information. So they are literally saying that. And I love the fact she specifically called them out and said, I already know the answer. And you have
because
all
we already have
committed,
the proof.
you have all committed felonies.
Yep.
Bobert.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So Bobert.
Bobert,
So she's the
Senator
House
of-
Republican for
Colorado.
Colorado. And she was pissed. Because she was another one that got shadow banned. And she got shadow banned. I mean, she specifically was calling them out, and she got shadow banned for making a joke about Hillary. And so, I mean, it was entertaining to watch the highlights of it today because it's very much these people may end up going to jail.
Good. They should.
They should have, absolutely.
And so, at least pay huge fines and be on probation for a very long time and have a black mark on the record.
In
forever.
jail.
Not that it would have
in
made a
jail.
difference.
White collar
Once
crimes
they have to.
About the election,
I mean, these
but yeah.
are technically going to be classified as white collar crimes. White collar crimes are hard to go to jail for. So I'm not anticipating that anybody's going to go to jail. I would imagine they'll probably have to pay some hefty fines and that they will forever be, now granted, these people probably already have millions in the bank anyhow, but
It's
they're
not gonna
never-
hurt 'em.
they're
it's
never
not
gonna
going to
get a-
hurt them at all.
they're gonna never get a job again. So we'll see what happens.
Hmm.
But and the one was a lawyer, and he's going to be disbarred.
Why would he not be a lawyer?
Chief counsel for Twitter,
That's
so they'll
funny.
be disbarred. So that one might sting a little bit more than the
Womp,
rest.
womp, womp.
Well, I mean, you would hope that a lawyer covets their
License.
license type thing like the rest of us do, but that could be wrong.
No, I get that, but you know what? These people, I don't think really care.
Nope.
Well,
They're all about the money. They don't care.
So
They'll find the money someplace else doing something else.
anything else you want to talk about for the State of the Union? That was it. Just a bunch of lies.
Yeah, just a bunch of lies. Talking about, again, unemployment, talking about how many jobs he created. It was just one thing after another.
Economy's
It was
doing great.
just- and the outbursts. He had a lot of outbursts where he got angry.
well, he
They
had a lot
also-
of words he didn't know.
Well, and
Like
they
he's
said
just
that
making words up.
I saw that the
I
mainstream
wrote for
media,
the shimaba.
I was just
there
gonna
was
say
a couple.
that.
There was a couple things in there about that, and they talked about it. And I saw a couple of the mainstream media was pretty disgusted with the fact that he was being interrupted. In some ways, though, I mean, isn't the House of Parliament always a little bit more entertaining?
Yeah.
So it was just that opinion section newspapers where you can get some good info. Okay, there you go.
They still have opinion sections?
You have to get the newspaper.
That's most of
Oh,
the.
No, nobody reads a newspaper anymore, do they?
But isn't that most of the articles? They're already opinionated.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that a lot of the articles are actually.
It used to
opinions in
be the
first place.
opposite, where it was an editorial page, and
Mhm.
that's where
Right.
the opinions were.
That's where like the good stuff was.
yeah, that it's not. Though that doesn't exist anymore. It's like throughout the whole.
Oh, Wendy's done drinking.
I would just ask anybody in the audience. I know our group is the people who typically follow us. I don't have to preach to the choir about this,
No.
but anybody else who's joining for the first time or may sway the other way, do your homework. I mean, look, everything that he says that was a lie.
Well, with anything
Is-
you do.
You can locate it on the internet. You can find where it's false information. I mean, it's pretty.
And you got to look beyond.
Google and
Well, you got to look beyond the the NBC and the ABC
Right.
and the Google and the Yahoo and stuff like that, because that doesn't give you the true facts. And I ask you to look at like 1440. I ask you to look at like Free Spoke. I ask you to look at like things like the Epic Times,
Mhm.
which are very down the middle. So
I'm finding, and this is just my opinion, Epic Times has been leaning a lot farther right.
I think it's only because of the fact, and I could be wrong, but I think it's only because of the fact that they're calling out a lot of this disparity when it's being portrayed wrong on the other side.
Well, we always said that with the media, that you can look at certain headlines and determine that it's more I don't want to say editorial piece.
Or it's more fact based. Yeah.
I've just been seeing a lot of their articles lately that they're not putting the facts out there for you to consume and create your own
opinion.
They're adding that opinion into their articles.
They're
I'll have to
swaying
look
you
at that.
already.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of catching me because I'm like, hey, I used to like what they were publishing because they used to be, or at least I thought, kind of down the middle of the road, and I'm not seeing that anymore.
Well,
And
I wonder if this is the reason. I brought this to put
Okay.
up tonight real quick. So there's a recent
Okay.
poll put out, I think it was a couple weeks ago, a recent Gallup poll with Biden's approval numbers and his disapproval numbers.
Okay.
So his disapproval numbers is
It's
pretty.
it's an eye chart. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
explain this a little bit.
If I could read it, I would.
So
See, then-
January 2023 on the top, approve in percentage points, he's at 41, disapprove is at 54, no opinion is at 4. November is 40 approve, 55 disapprove,
Actually,
no opinion is 5.
if you don't want to, don't read the whole thing. Just just drop down to 2021, where
57
his,
approve, 37 disapprove, and 6 no opinion.
so it's definitely flipped.
well,
yeah,
not
well,
even
it's
that.
gone like this. Because
Not even that. The piece that I like about it, which gotta love my brain, the no opinion is lower. So the people who don't give a crap are paying attention.
Yes.
Could be. Yeah.
very true.
be.
That actually is a very good point.
Because I didn't care up until 3 years ago or so, 4 years ago. Didn't care. Didn't have anything to do with my life. Didn't think it affected me. Whoever's up there, good job. Like, you get to wear the hat, have fun.
Gas prices don't matter.
Didn't they go up? They always go. They always go up. They always go down. But you know what I mean? For me,
Well,
with,
I'm not
I
picking
didn't
on you, but this goes back
relate-
to an episode we had, I don't know how many weeks ago, where we talked about people that didn't pay attention.
I didn't relate
And-
anything to
and
that.
while-
So
While a lot of people think that politics is just, there's the political junkies, yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
And they just do it because they like to watch it for whatever reason. But it does affect you. It does affect your wallet. It does affect your what your future is going to be like. It affects what your taxes are going to be. It affects what your retirements are going to be. It affects what your work is going to be. Because I mean, we saw,
and I don't think a lot of people understand
put that together. Like I never put that together. I never.
because most people just I think
I'm in my bubble.
yeah, there's a certain majority that's like, I'm not political. I don't get involved with this, that, and the
Yeah.
other thing. And you don't realize
That affects
the
you
exactly. There's
directly.
a trickle down effect per se, and you don't realize that effect until you're already there.
Well,
I
then
mean,
you
when-
hear
when-
about like the oil stuff. Oh, there's an oil shortage. Oh, okay. I know it sounds stupid, but if you don't think about it, you don't think, okay, the oil
It's
prices
due
are
to an
the oil,
election.
well, not even that. The oil prices are going up. Okay, why are the oil prices going up? I don't know. I'm not, that's not my job. Okay, why is gas higher? Oh, I guess gas is just higher. You don't put that together unless you're
because
paying
the oil
attention.
companies are being greedy, and
But you
because
don't-
the president said
Exactly.
the oil companies are being
Exactly.
greedy.
Right.
But I don't put that together. Like,
There's also to Arthur's point there. There's also a comfortability level too.
Mhm.
So if you go back to 08 where everything crashed, we were all upset. Gas prices
Yeah.
were outrageous. Everything was nuts, right? We
Mhm.
all cared back then. But then I'd say from
You fizzle
2012 all the way up to maybe 2018, 2019, those were years where gas prices were back down. Things were somewhat
People
normal.
were
Everybody
working,
got
everything was
comfortable again and
good,
everybody
people were
forgot
buying
about it.
houses again.
So now all of a sudden the gas prices shoot up and everybody's like, oh shit, why is this happening? You know?
'Cause
So
you weren't paying attention.
I think that's what happens with a lot of people. I think I kind of dropped politics
Yeah.
after, the shit happened with Obama in 08 and 09.
So I
Once
was
2012 rolled around, I kind of got out of, didn't really pay attention to politics much more. Not until Trump started getting in the picture. So I can see it happening. I can see it.
Well, and then
But
you have the ones that
2012, Obama was still in office.
I know, but things weren't as bad. They were on the rebound.
they were getting better. People were working. There was more things.
So the
There was
economy,
more-
the economy crashed out during 9/11. It fell off the precipice.
Precipice.
Yeah, fell off the
Right,
cliff.
that too.
Fell off the cliff, and so then
But that was after. I mean, the crash kind of really came in like 08, did it not?
yeah, it did. I mean,
08,
09 was
That
because
was
of
7 years later.
the bubble. Well, I mean, we had some funky things that were happening for years, and then in 08, the bubble burst for
That's when shit hit the fan.
The housing market.
the housing
Yeah.
market, and so and all these overinflated homes, and so then the problem was, unfortunately, at that point, then Obama was spending money. Now he was not spending money like we are now, but he thought that he could kind of weigh it out and say, I can spend more here, but not cause inflation. But I'm not going to, as long as I don't cause
The
a
downfall.
recession, if I can just keep it crawling in an upward direction,
We're
we're
good.
cool.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And that was his whole economic plan, was as long as I just get a 3%, 2 to 3% increase every year, I'm good. We're cool. Everything's cool. And so that's where we stood for a lot of years. So that's why we have the slowest economic growth in almost the entire country's history during the Obama years, because of the fact that he was trying to play both sides.
Yeah.
The Obamacare and all this kind of stuff. Granted, Obamacare didn't come into play as far as, but he was spending money, and he was, the Obama
Yeah.
phones, I guess is what I was trying to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all
Which
this
we
kind of
still
stuff.
got.
And so, spending all this money, but just trying to make sure that it wasn't going to be too much to push the
Yeah.
economy over the edge. And then we come back and we get Trump as a prime example. And I remember this because it was such a big difference. All of a sudden, he slashed taxes. And all of a sudden, we saw an instant increase in our take-home pay. And you saw companies that
They
were
were
literally
spending money.
companies that were not only spending money, but they were also turning around and they were giving their employees
Yep.
huge bonoses.
Mhm.
Yep.
Remember that in the
Yep.
news about, so-and-so company is giving their bonus, giving,
Yeah.
Walmart, I think, gave like
$5,000 a person or
yeah,
something.
thousands
Yeah, it
of
was
dollars
crazy.
every person, and stuff
Remember
like
the
that.
oil boom? All these people were getting oil jobs, working on these rigs, making $200,000 a year. I mean, it was life changing for people. It was huge.
And so, and then it goes back to the process of, if you go back, and it's the same old story, right? If you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Mhm.
And so you go back and you take a look at some of the policies that have happened over the years, and even back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, what worked and what didn't work. I would encourage anybody to go and just take a look. And we're not talking about, spending hours or weeks studying this. Sometimes it's just a quick 5 and 10 minute article to be able to look at this and go, okay, now I see how this works and what policies happened under what president, what worked and what didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And even Kennedy is a prime example. Kennedy would be a Republican today.
Mhm.
And Kennedy sat there and realized that if we gave certain tax cuts, we would actually stimulate the economy.
Yeah.
A lot of my children's generation were not informed about the government in school. I had to have government in high school, and that's where we got our first taste about what government is all about. Absolutely.
See, we didn't have
Christine.
to take any of that. I had no government classes
Really?
in school.
Yeah, we
Really?
did.
None at
We
all.
had a-
None?
We had to pass a constitution test and everything.
Yeah.
So do we.
None.
That was one of the handful
did it
of
in, like,
requirements.
We had to
Kindergarten
take
where
a
we dressed
civics
up
class
like
or
presidents.
Yeah, we had to take civics too,
Or something
No.
else. Yeah.
economics class. We
No,
had to take.
didn't take that either.
We had to take
Really?
American history, and then we had to take world history.
We had to take that.
Yeah, we
I
had to take
didn't.
civics and a history and something else.
Mhm.
We had history classes. We didn't have a government. We didn't have civics. We didn't have anything like that.
Interesting.
I also didn't show up a lot, so I'm not really sure.
You probably did learn about all that stuff. You just don't remember.
But if
So-
if that is the case that it's not being taught, yes, Christine, it needs to get back into the school system.
But also, we got to pick our classes. So we didn't have to take, like, we had to take a math, we had to take a history, but it didn't say which one we had to take.
Yeah, we had two also, but we still had to pass a certain level of
Yes.
civics. We
Yeah.
had to
See,
had
we
to pa-
did.
we had to
didn't.
take a constitution test.
Like we had to take
to
so
be
many
able to-
math,
and
so
pass to
many
be able to get out- to
biology,
get-
so many like sciences, stuff
mean,
like that.
literally-
But it didn't say.
That one test, if you couldn't pass your constitution test, you did not get your diploma.
Oh, you know, ours wasn't like that.
Well, what do they
wouldn't have
teach in
mine.
third, fourth, and fifth is inaccurate nowadays. It's
Well,
true.
they
I
have
mean,
that.
they're-
That well,
you know,
part of it is you got to wonder now. Do they have that 1619 project that's rolling around in some of these schools, and are they teaching them inaccurate?
Doesn't surprise me. They
History.
did it to us. They took stuff out.
And
They taught us the wrong thing about the Holocaust. So
I can see why people want to
homeschool.
homeschool.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why
and you
leave
should
it,
take your tax money and spend it at home.
right? And that way you give your kids the education that they deserve
Yep.
instead of
Absolutely.
Well, it goes
Isn't
back.
it like
cherry picking.
Well, and there's actually there was a meme that was floating around for years, 10 years ago or something like that, about some of the things that schools are not teaching kids, like how to do your taxes, how to do a resume, how to change a tire,
How to balance a checkbook.
how
to
to
balance a
do
checkbook.
real math?
Right.
Yeah, things like that, and so and
True.
I was thinking about that a handful of weeks ago about Common Core. I think you and I were having a
Oh, it's
conversation.
terrible.
And it's like,
Yeah.
how in the hell do you do Common Core on a calculator?
You
You
can't.
don't.
You can't.
can't.
You
You
can't.
don't.
Which
You
screws you
can't.
when you get into college because college is all about
Everything-
calculators.
It's
Right?
all about the
Yes.
So
scientific
I mean,
math
again, it's
calculators.
just
Yeah.
what is the point of this? So, Lindsay, I thought about this. Thought about you
Uh-oh.
for this one. See that your tax services have been sharing tax data with Meta.
What?
Oh, I would think
Why? Oh, For
Why
what
would
reason?
Facebook not need that?
For what reason?
Just they were selling it.
Tax
That is
services
so
as
wrong.
in what? Like
That's
TurboTax
Yes.
and like the
Yeah.
people who are doing
So
it?
not into it. They weren't called out, but a couple of the other big tax services were called out specifically. There was 3 of them that they were selling their information to Meta.
And there's probably some little form in the bottom of the thing that you clicked through and said, "Yep, I'll let you sell my
Give
shit."
Yeah.
permission.
Yeah, they made it a 3-page user agreement, and then at the bottom, and we're selling it to Meta.
Yep.
Jackson Hewitt. You suck. No,
We're
I'm
not- we're
kidding.
not
Yeah,
on
it might have
Facebook.
been Jackson Hewitt. Might have been one of them.
We're not on
Okay.
Facebook tonight, so you can talk shit. about that.
Why are we not on Facebook?
Are we
today?
back on Twitter? Are we still good on Twitter since we got kicked off
I
last
didn't
week?
even try it this week. We're only on Rumble and YouTube this week.
Wow.
We have
okay.
3 people on Rumble. Hey, y'all, Rumblers.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Just
Oh,
what
did we
happened?
just jinx it?
Oh, see, you jinxed it.
Jinxed it.
So did you see
YouTube
that
heard
Hunter
me.
finally admitted it was his laptop?
I did.
saw that.
Oh,
But then you
the
see his
say
lawyers
no,
came
it's
back the
not
next day and said, "No, it's
No,
not."
no. Walk it
We
back.
didn't say that. We did not say that.
Nothing to see here.
And you got to wonder. It's like, are they? Do they do that purposely?
No, somebody made a mistake.
Hunter?
No, it was the lawyers that said that it was his because the lawyers filed suit against the owner of the business
Right.
and then filed suit against several of the news outlets that published it. The few news outlets that published it.
Oh, baby.
Watched State of the Union last night, and she asked me why the president was lying on it. Thank God for her.
You know what? You needed to
God bless her.
record that.
Right? That would have been great.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
because
yeah.
then he would have been like, I'll
You
come
should
and
have
talk
bought
to your
her some
granddaughter.
ice cream today.
That was him
The
sniffing
hell did you
babies.
just do? Really? You're blowing your nose on the
No,
air?
he was
not even
sniffing
what that
babies.
was.
Is Darth Vader in the room?
So yeah, he is suing the owner
Oh,
of
that's
the
not a Darth
store
Vader
in Delaware and
Over what?
for releasing his information.
Who's
That's
the
what the
information?
lawsuit
He
says.
left it there.
And he signed a piece of paper that says that if you did not come back and pick it up
It's
within
theirs.
3 months, it is
Exactly.
legally abandoned.
Exactly. So what are they suing over?
Wow.
Just because they
they're trying
can?
to scare people.
Because
Yeah.
it's Hunter's laptop.
Trying to scare people. So then when that didn't work and it went out that Hunter admits it's his laptop, according to this lawsuit, the lawyer said, no, we didn't admit that. Well, you said it was his information, didn't you? Yeah. Well, then it's got to be his
It's gotta be
laptop.
Oh my
laptop.
God, that's
Just,
typical
no,
lawyer
that's not what
talk.
he meant.
Did you see that Ted Cruz introduced a term limits bill?
It'll never pass because those little assholes will never
keep in
vote
mind-
for it.
Ted Cruz is in the Senate.
Mhm.
You never
Yeah,
know.
but,
you
I
never
mean-
know. You never know.
I get that
Stranger
Glenn Close
things-
is already out.
Stranger things could happen.
he's in the Senate, but
I thought it was way more restrictive than what I would have done.
I
so
love-
he
I love-
restricted them to 2 terms as a senator,
Okay.
Which is 4 years, right?
so how
6. So it's 6 years per term,
many years?
oh, so that's 12 years total.
12 years
Yeah.
total,
Well, that's a lot.
So
No, I'd
what-
have done way less than that.
and only 2 terms as a House
Representative.
member. Yeah.
So
as a
I'm
rep,
just curious, what term
which I thought
is
was
Cruz's work? What term is Cruz working on? 1, 2, 3.
he is on term 2.
Okay, so
So
I just
he's
find
on his
it.
way out.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that he would introduce the bill. You know, it's not going to pass. It's not going to.
Yeah, but still,
They're not going to vote themselves out of a job.
True.
Some may actually have a higher calling than just what's keeping themselves in power.
But there are so
Mm.
many.
And I
more
say that
I
because
think
you look
that
at
are.
some of them, like a Trey Gowdy, whom I thought was an outstanding senator, and I think he was from Georgia. I could be wrong about that. Somebody look that up, please. Where was Trey Gowdy, the senator, from? But Trey Gowdy was an outstanding, and he just finally said, "You know what? I'm done."
Good.
He did 2, maybe 3 terms at the most, and then he said, "You know, no." And I mean, now granted, he went to Fox, and he's got a gig on Fox, and he is an accomplished lawyer. He's an attorney. But he just said, "Nope, a couple stints, and I'm good."
And for those people that look at it as it's my civic duty,
Do a couple terms, and I'm good.
right? I applaud you. That's what it's about.
It's an experience. It's to get your voice heard, get your state's voice heard, anything like that. Try to make
You're
it
I mean, I
different.
could see.
You're representing a group of people.
I mean, I could see if
exactly.
you wanted to do 12 years for senators.
Or the-
Trey's hair is still cool, and he's got that suave way of talking that really is kind of like, I could see him being an attorney.
Yeah.
You'd be in the courtroom and going, "I'm going with whatever that guy says. I
Right.
don't care." Yeah, if he says you're guilty,
He's like
you're
the
guilty.
Dos Equis guy.
Yeah. No, even better than that.
Even better than that?
Yeah. Trey Gowdy is outstanding. So,
I'll have to look him up.
but he was going to do 2 terms for senator and 2 terms for reps, and I thought, man, that's tough for a rep. That means 4 years. That's
That's 8 years.
no. I
No,
mean,
it's 4
it's,
years.
they're
Oh,
they're
2 and
only
2.
they're only 2 years. Reps are
Mm,
only 2
yeah.
years, and I thought, 4 years, I'd
You're
be
just
willing to-
kind of getting
yeah,
going and figuring it.
I'd be willing to
figuring
give a
it
rep.
out.
I mean, I was going to say if you would give senators 12 years, I'd be willing to give reps 12 years.
Or 8 years.
Mhm.
Give him
You
4
know,
terms.
and so something like that, But yeah, he said 2 terms each, and I was like, "Whew, that's tough."
12 years. If you ain't done nothing in 12 years, your butt needs to be by.
Exactly.
Biden has done it
Goodbye.
in 40 years and
Yeah.
he's still around.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, then going back to your poll, 41% of Americans think they are worse off under Biden.
It's a high number.
Under the other headlines, you see that the New York Chinese police station got raided. And-
I
Really?
did.
No.
I did.
No.
It's about time.
Rated
Why
by
did they allow it in the
FBI.
first place?
Do you see the dumpster of
Dumpster of
guns?
guns.
Dumpster of guns.
What?
What
Hey, John,
dumpster
before
of
Wendy
guns?
hurries.
Apparently Wendy's going to give you the
Yeah, because we're gonna
Alarm,
get the,
we're out of
the
time.
6-minute warning here.
Oh, yeah.
There is no unfortunately there is no quiz of the week. So
Womp,
Okay.
womp, womp.
yeah,
Wow.
so we knew that we were going to run on a lot of topics
Yeah, we had a
today,
lot of
so
topics.
we left off the quiz of the week.
But stay tuned for next week.
Oh, Lord.
Why?
I don't know because
Oh.
there'll be a quiz.
I was like, what are you announcing?
Sounded
Wow.
good.
got something good
Oh,
going
I
next
thought, I
week.
thought Wendy had like something planned.
No, because there'll be a quiz of the week.
Oh,
It
it'll be-
sounded good. I was
I
like,
know.
alrighty, let's do it.
I was super excited. So see that the Baltimore power grid was attacked by 2 guys that literally these guys are jackasses.
Wow.
They wanted to put the city of Baltimore in the dark so it would burn to the ground. Literally, that's what they wanted. That was their plan. They wanted to put the city.
So that makes it how many power grids have been attacked now within the last
We're like
couple of
5 or
years?
6.
yeah,
right?
somewhere around that, because you have North
Within a
Carolina, there
year.
was Oregon, there was Washington State, there's now Maryland,
The
and
guys
there's-
that
I
were,
wanna
like,
say there's
peeing
at
on
least
it or
another one
whatever.
out there that I forget which one.
I
So-
find that a little alarming. I
It
don't
is-
know
it
about
is very
anybody
alarming,
else.
very alarming. So I know that some in Congress are looking to take some of that money that was going to the IRS and redistribute that to security for infrastructure.
I
Okay.
think that would be an
Okay.
excellent idea.
Yeah.
See, Keith and I can't say a thing because that would be,
I have a question.
self-serving.
Yeah, kind of.
So is New York really shipping illegals to Canada?
Yep.
How are we doing that?
They're taking
Their
them,
borders aren't closed.
They're taking them to, and I should have wrote down. My fault. I didn't write it down.
Okay.
They're actually taking them to one of those little towns that's on the border that has like no official border,
Yeah.
and they're literally dropping them off on the
Jesus.
from the bus and saying,
But
"Go
Canada
that direc-
won't.
go that direction."
Go north.
Canada won't let them in though.
And this,
They'll
and
ship
this-
'em
Nobody
back.
guarding that
And-
area.
And in the
so
middle of
the-
winter. Run.
yeah, and the
Get
mayor
warm.
or governor of Quebec, whatever the person is like, "Oh, wait, whoa, you can't do that." Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody alerted the Canadian authorities to.
They're
They're like,
"Whoa,
"Stop! You can't do this."
I can't believe that they're doing that in the middle of winter. Of
Yeah,
all.
they don't care.
I mean,
Eric Adams.
wow.
Here's
Here's a coat.
Well,
Have
Eric
some
Adams
fun,
and his
eh?
whole, we're a sanctuary city, and
Don't
well,
get eaten by a
except that
polar
we're
bear.
gonna, hey, yeah, we're a sanctuary city. All right, so walk through this building. On the other side, there's a bus. Get on it, and we're taking you to Canada.
All righty then. Learn how to say, "Hey."
God.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So Hinsdale College is seeing a 53% increase in applicants. Earthquake, and you see this earthquake in terms
Yeah,
of
it
was
it was that one building that
crazy.
collapsed.
Yeah, it was bad.
So
it
is
was
there
just
any-
like it was a mini version of 9/11.
Yeah.
The building
Yeah.
literally just pancaked right
Mhm.
there. There was a camera on it, and it literally just went boom.
Oh, that's
A lot of their
terrible.
buildings did because they don't
They don't
have
the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
Did you
have
see
all
there
this
was
stuff.
there's some amazing stories that are coming out of this.
Oh, absolutely.
There was there was a picture they released either yesterday or today of a little girl, and she was literally she had wedged her body to keep this wall that had fallen over to protect her little brother.
Oh, wow.
They both
Wow.
made it out,
Right.
Good.
but it was an amazing picture. And then another one I saw, probably the other one that was the most amazing, was a woman gave birth while trapped.
Oh, wow.
I heard
Wow.
about that one.
Yeah, they showed the baby. The baby's doing fine. The mom's doing fine. But yeah, she gave birth while trapped in the rubble.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Well, when that
Today-
baby's coming, that baby's coming.
Yeah. Today I heard about they were pulling out a whole family.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's all
I'm sure
sorts
That's
of
going to
stories
go on
like
for
that.
a month, as bad as that was.
That is crazy.
And
See,
then
so there are still some good humans.
Some.
There are.
So too quick under the "Are you kidding me?" headlines. So Disney bends to Chinese censors and drops the Simpsons episode with references to slave labor.
Really?
Are you serious?
And I wanted to ask Arthur. So did you see? I'm putting this in the "Are you kidding me?" headlines because Border Patrol testified yesterday that a wall would improve security. And I'm sitting there and I'm going,
Duh.
thank you. That's exactly why I put it in this section, because it's like, are you kidding me? Really? I mean, it takes these Border Patrol chiefs to sit there and have to tell Congress this when we all know the answer, right? We all know the answer.
He says he didn't see that.
That should be the "here's your sign"
Right.
Right.
headline.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. All right. Couple quick political cartoons.
Oh, did you hear? Sorry, go back.
Uh-oh.
Did you hear that Disney has to fire thousands and thousands of employees?
Because
No.
they poked the bear and they're losing.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
Gotta
the
love
state,
your wokeness,
the
Disney.
state legislature in Florida is taking away their special business.
Oh,
Whatever.
that's right. Yeah.
They're special. You're a whole island and city by yourself
Yeah.
or
Yep.
whatever. Yeah.
Nope, not any longer.
Yep.
Say
I
about
So-
thought that
that.
was funny.
Go woke, go broke, right?
Gotta
We
enjoy
got
it.
this. We got nothing accomplished. I stayed up past 7 o'clock last night. Doesn't that count? We're not spying on you. The balloon outside is. State of the Union. Arthur, this last one is for you. This was literally put by the Border Patrol Union. Not this one, the next one.
Oh.
Border Patrol Union posted this morning. 2 years after taking office, Biden is still using the "I have a plan to secure the border" line. This is their actual tweet.
Awesome.
That's
I
awesome.
love the clowns.
That's
That
great.
is the
That's
best.
some funny shit right there.
I like the fact that they're finally
Clowns, unicorns.
enough
and
with
the
the
rainbow.
PC stuff. Let's just
Right.
put it out
Yep.
there.
Good for them.
So good. What are they going to do? Get kicked off?
Right.
Right.
So the silly file. All right. Play the music.
No.
Oh,
Hooker of the week.
Oh,
Oh, really? Okay.
I was like,
Oh.
wait, you just
Yeah,
said
like,
played
what
music.
mu-
I didn't know
what
what
music
music
you
you were
talking
talking
Oh,
about.
he wasn't
weren't
ready.
specific.
Wasn't
Give
ready.
us a little- We
oh.
got to do her from the
That's
backside. Her
terrible.
face is
Okay.
not
I
cute.
love it.
It's like
we
her
gotta
boobs
work
are
on
hanging
her.
down to her knees.
Whoopi.
Yes.
Oh, boy, here
Oh,
we
my
go.
God.
Did you see her?
She's a hooker again, man. She's already been twice.
She literally said, "We spy on them, they spy on us, we find out stuff, they find out stuff, the world keeps going around. What's the big deal?"
Yeah, no. You're fucking
She
dumb.
is
Fucking
such
schmuck.
an idiot.
She looks like the fucking balloon.
Oh my god.
Did you see that? They put her in the
Yes,
balloon.
I saw
did
that.
they?
I saw that. meme.
That's
I saw
great.
that meme.
That was
All right,
funny.
you want something fun?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, silly file 2. Viral video shows woman asleep behind the wheel of her Tesla on a California freeway.
Yeah.
Can you see that? She is literally out.
It's
Yeah.
it's
The
self-driving,
video,
right?
the video, she is like out cold. They pulled up. This was a couple from Vegas that was visiting in California. And so the woman was behind the wheel of her Tesla, 4 p.m. on a Thursday on the I-15.
It
The
knows how to
car
take
was
her
so
home.
new, it didn't even have plates on it.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
They said that they pulled up next to her, was honking the horn for 15 minutes before they finally had to call 911. CHP, obviously, CHP pulls the person over. They found her awake.
Mhm.
Of course, by then.
Well, by then,
Yeah.
so, and of course, unfortunately, Tesla says, that the autopilot does not fully drive the car. It can't just do that. You have to be awake.
So mine yells at me. So mine will semi-drive. I mean, it's not going to stop or go. It'll slow down and stuff to a point. Technically, it probably could, but it'll yell at you. Like, so I'll rest my hand on there, especially when we're driving down the freeway. We're going straight. I'll just rest my hand on there. If I don't move or do something, it beeps. Like it
Does it
yells
really?
at you and
Oh,
says,
wow.
"Hey, you need to be driving the car."
Yeah. Hello.
Okay,
So
'cause I know
after
my-
about 40 seconds,
Let's clarify that Lindsay does not have a Tesla.
I do not have a Tesla. I have a Honda. Thank you very
And
much.
my brother's
takes
Honda,
either
which I
me-
know that I've seen the
Very
technology.
similar.
I've seen the technology in action, and it is pretty impressive.
It's great. It's great for going down the freeway.
But he
It's
showed
awesome.
where if you take your hand off the wheel for a certain
you got
amount
like
of
30
time,
seconds.
the car will
Yeah,
literally start complaining
Yeah.
about the fact that
Mhm.
you have taken your hand.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it
it beeps.
monitors for movement.
It beeps. So it's, and it might be because I'm not holding it tight enough or whatever. And I do have a
Cover.
like a cover on it because it gets blistering hot in the summer. So it might be the cover that's the difference.
Okay.
Because I have the cover on, and if I just keep my hand on it, like it'll say, "Oh, you don't feel you," and then if I like twist
okay,
it, so it
maybe
could
that
be the
is it.
cover,
That could be it. So,
so it doesn't feel it.
quote of the week
Okay.
from Harry S. Truman. I never did give anybody hell. I just told the truth, and that's what. And they thought it was hell.
Are you gonna move your thing
It did. It moved on
It
his
moved
thing.
on
There
his-
it
yeah,
Yeah,
it
goes.
takes,
There it
takes a couple
goes.
minutes.
and
Weird connection.
delete?
All right.
It's got a weird connection.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're almost done, right? So we got our status that's coming up here.
Welcome to Wednesdays.
Boy,
Apparently,
this
Yeah.
is really.
There's a lag, huh?
Yeah, just a little
Seriously, lag.
I mean, I got it all. Yeah, right. So all this kind of stuff. Then we've got
And
Our
the
final
list keeps
crisis is
growing.
fine.
the list keeps growing.
It does.
And then third page,
maybe.
POTUS openly. We added. POTUS openly lies to the American public.
Yep.
That's the end.
So-
for a short, our security's been compromised.
Do you believe it has?
So we've
Yes.
Me too.
Yes, I would say that our security has been compromised. I think it's one of those things that the military has a long way to go to be able to fix some of the, because they've gotten rid of between.
Oh, it just slipped through though.
Between
Do you think it's
between
part of the big plan, or it was just a whoops? We were sleeping at the wheel.
How many people though? How many posts did that go over? Not just one. How many? You know, there was hundreds of people watching that from the time it even started to get close to Alaska. Even started.
I don't even want to. I mean, I sit there and I hold out hope that there are true patriots in the military that will do what is the right
I'm sure there
thing.
is. And
Right.
how many people
But the
did they
problem
tell
is-
and then it got snuffed?
Well, the problem is, so, you know, the true patriots. So there is a very well-known article, very well known, that it was reported that Biden said he did not trust the military, especially the quote unquote MAGA people in the military, because he didn't think that they would
Follow directions.
follow orders.
Mhm.
It's
And
commander
so-
in chief. They have to follow his orders.
And that's the thing. They forget, I mean, it's notorious, and it's been this way for decades, that the Democrats do not like the military, because the vast majority of the military, not all of them, and I will say that is, not all of them, but the vast majority of the military leans very right.
Right. Yeah.
And so they don't like that. And so same what happened in the Obama administration, same thing is happening now, where they purge a bunch of good leaders, from colonel and generals and admirals and captains and those types on up, purge them out of the military, whether it was because they just could
Well, they're
fire,
going to age out
they
and
could
stuff
they
too.
could fire them. They could say that you're not going to vax and all that kind of
Yeah.
good stuff, and then put in there the people that they think will follow orders. General Milley is a prime example,
Yeah.
and this is where we are. So then we have people that are afraid to either do the right thing because they're more concerned about their political career than those that, like, that one Marine major that got kicked out because he sat there and he ranted about the Biden administration and the Afghan pullout
Mhm.
and said this was totally screwed up, and he got let go. But I mean, I've heard actual interviews with this guy. The guy was a true patriot. He was doing what he thought was right, and he had to speak his mind because he wasn't concerned about his career. And
Yeah.
yet he was only like 18 months away from being able to retire.
Retire.
Oh wow.
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 I mean, he put it all on the line.
So he was very passionate about it.
Yeah. But people were killed due to incompetency.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And they still are being.
Yes. So
Crazy.
And good for him to step up and do what is right.
absolutely. And so you can only hope that,
You can never, demean someone for that.
No.
no.
No, definitely not.
No.
All right. So Wendy has given us the 5-minute mark like 15 minutes ago.
Yep.
Yep. We'll talk about this next week. But did you guys see the story about the Arizona rancher who's being charged with murder for killing an illegal that wandered on his property?
No.
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 Yeah, we'll talk about that.
What?
We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
He's not a citizen. It doesn't count.
Right? CTC swag. We got some shirts. You guys
Ooh.
interested? $20 a pop. Shoot us an email. Let us know if you're interested.
They're not in yet. They're still.
Well,
coming.
they can still let us know. if they
They're
want.
coming.
So,
They're coming.
If
I'm
you-
coming for you.
If you guys are in the Arizona area,
I'm so sorry.
if you guys are in the Arizona area, we will be at the gun show up in Globe next weekend. So come up and see us.
Freezing
Actually, it's probably
my
gonna be, it
ass
should be
off.
pretty nice.
When are we going down to Tucson?
In between there and the other gun show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So probably first weekend in March.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Andrew,
End of
Arthur,
February,
we'll
beginning
talk,
of March.
we'll talk to you guys about that. Yeah, because that'll be. Well, no, we'll still have a weekend left in February, don't we? After
Yeah,
next
end of
weekend.
February.
So yeah, so end of
First weeks
February.
of March.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's gonna do it for
All right.
us. You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye.
We love America.